Genesis House and the Friends in Recovery podcast are proud to bring you Answering the Call, the First Responder podcast. Join your hosts, Mike the Podfather and Jersey Ed, as they address the real issues in health and wellness for first responders. From physical and mental health to relationships and work-life balance, we leave no stone unturned. Answering the Call, the First Responder podcast is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube, as well as iHeartRadio. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, here are your friends in recovery answering the call.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Answering the Call, the First Responders podcast. I am the Podfather, Mike Miles, and I'm here with Jersey Ed
Jersey Ed, guys. Quarantineville.
and Sweets, the
Sweet
producer extraordinaire from Sweet Studio up here in beautiful Beverly, Massachusetts. So, Ed, tell us about our guest.
Great segue, Podfather.
He makes some great.
Real quick,
he makes some great cigar. I'll tell you that. All right.
Exactly. Steve Zengel is going to be our guest today on Answering the Call. We've smoked his cigars in the past with Ed Sullivan, who we know from our old Studio 21. Right. So I like how you have the box set up, Podfather. I like how you have everything going on there.
I am a marketing magnet. That's what they call me.
You are. I see Steve's sales going through the roof because
right through the roof.
Unbelievable. Right. He's probably counting the cash as he's sitting back listening to us, waiting to come on. So I see a couple of cigars missing there too, Podfather.
Yeah, I'm a retired police officer, and I have a few friends that still smoke. So this Sunday, I graciously, gave a couple away, and then I've smoked a couple, but we tried to save as many as we could for the display. Now, keep in mind, I could have stuck other cigars in there, but I didn't want to taint the box,
Yeah, well, I believe from what Steve told me earlier is that he sent you 3 boxes of cigars.
Oh, yeah. No, I think he sent them to you. But I got to say this. Let me just give you a quick synopsis. Very robust, very nice medium-bodied cigar. Really smokes nice, great flavor, and I love the name. I love the whole concept. The note that comes with it, it's amazing, and I love it because I've had friends die in the line of duty. I've been to too many funerals. 35 years working as a cop.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot, but yeah, this is great concept, great idea. I'll always be a customer, and like I said, I want to get Steve's address. We can send him some merchandise, some T-shirts, and some mugs.
Absolutely. So instead of you and me talking about the cigar and kind of giving our opinion on it, why don't we bring the guy in who invented this blend and who's the forefront of this wonderful cause for all this. Steve Zengel is I don't have a bio on him, but I'm just going to go off of what I have. Steve Zengel is from Los Caidos Cigars. We were introduced to him by in New Hampshire at Two Guys Cigars Smoke Shop, and I believe Steve was on one of his shows, and Ed said, "You got to get this guy on. He has a cigar shop, or had a cigar shop in Jersey. He has this line of cigars, and that's about all I know about you, Steve. So why don't you introduce yourself? Welcome to the show, Steve."
Welcome, Steve. Thank you so much for having me, and
welcome,
Michael. Thank you, Podfather. Thank you for your service, and my thoughts are always with you and your friends who died in the line of duty. And special thanks to Ed Sullivan up at Two Guys. Those guys are really special. I was up there a couple weeks ago, the first day that they opened, and just great guys. We had a little herf outside in the parking lot with some chairs. I saw it on Facebook, and I said, man, I got to be part of that. And this day they opened, I drove up there, and I did nothing but sit outside and smoke with them in the Seabrook. So it was great. It was great.
Yeah.
So that's really it.
Thanks, Steve.
I just want to thank you.
This is, first of all, like the Podfather was saying, a great blend. I mean, all that's very important to a cigar smoker, but concept. I mean, we know the concept behind it, but tell us why the first responders. There's also we have the blue box, but there's also a red box for firefighters. And what made you think of this? And there's money being donated to a charity also on top of that, right?
Yes. So I'll try to cover 7 years quickly in a minute. No, I will. So I had a cigar shop, Seaside Heights, New Jersey, 2012. It was there for 8 months, wiped out by Hurricane Sandy. I had to wait a year, and then I opened up a few miles north back in my hometown of Wall Township. Small place, but I needed to make money, so I fell back on my doctorate degree, got into a high school, became a vice principal, and needed somebody to manage the shop while I was doing that, because to open up the new shop, I needed money, couldn't apply for credit without a job. So I needed the job, document credit, got the credit cards, built the new shop on credit. While I was doing that, retired police officer from Wall Township, Frank Lancelotti, who was always in the shop buying cigars, I said, hey, Frank, would you mind managing a place while I go become a vice principal? He said, absolutely not. And just before that had happened, Christopher Matlos from Lakewood was brutally murdered. Mark Castellano, the reason for the move over law in the state of New Jersey, state trooper, was also killed in Howell Township, my hometown, on 195. So we became the cigar shop because of Frank's connections, being a retired police officer. We became the shop that was called to go to the picnics, the golf outings, the casino nights, to raise money for the family members and do what we can to try to help. So it started in Monmouth County, expanded to Ocean County, and at the time I'm selling $200 worth of cigars, and I'm giving the families $100, and it felt sleazy, like I almost had a shower afterwards, because here I am selling product on the backs of fallen officers, and I'm only giving a couple $100 away, and my shop was about a mile from the headquarters for Jersey Mike's Sub Sandwiches. And they sat there and they said, listen, instead of complaining about it, get a set of balls, shut all this stuff down, and go national and give back through every cigar like we do through subs. So that's what I did. About 2 weeks after that conversation, I submitted my resignation as a vice principal, told my landlord I'm not coming back, and started the process of shutting everything down so I could go national. And around that same time in 2016, before the predicate date of August 8th, when you had to have all your blends in, some firefighters from Long Branch were talking to me through Facebook and whatnot and live over some cigars, and they said, hey, we got guys dying on the line of duty over here too. Did you ever think about doing anything for firefighters? And I said I hadn't. It was only out of the demand for Chris Matlos, Mark Castellano, and others that I started doing the police, and they said, well, we'd like you to do a red 2 for us. So I said, okay, and instead of coming out with the new cigar, because I didn't know what the FDA was doing, I just changed the color of the bands, 1 blue, 1 red. So now what we have is, on every blue label cigar we sell, we give $1 back to family members of fallen police officers, and on a red to family members of fallen firefighters, but it's the same exact cigar, 1.6 by 54 Toro, medium-bodied, full of flavor, made by Aganorsa leaf. So well, that's how. Great story. That's 7 years in a couple minutes.
I'm impressed with the vice principal. I mean, I don't know how anyone's.
Don't be. Don't be.
I don't know how anybody's a teacher nowadays. I worked in schools. I got my social work degree, and I had to get an intern, do internships, and I work with a lot of young kids. I love kids, but geez, I don't know if I can go to work every day and deal with parents, and it's a tough job you got there. I got to tell you, Steve.
Well, I couldn't. That's why I started Los Caidos.
Good stuff. I was just saying, I was stationed at Fort Dix in the 70s, Mammoth County. What was that? Jersey Shore, Atlantic City. We used to take our trips down to Atlantic City. Back then, believe it or not, they had the Miss America pageant down there, which was a big thing, obviously. But I love the state of New Jersey. It's just absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Seaside, I know Seaside very well. That's where most of my addiction began. I'm in recovery, and Seaside was a party in town and everybody knows Seaside probably from the Jersey Shore. And have you ever had any of those guys come in and buy cigars from you?
We had, yes. We had, but with them also came the whole crew, the trucks, they had to stop traffic. So it was a lot. And I didn't really want to make a huge scene out of it. But most of my clientele came either at 10 o'clock in the morning before they were going to the beach, or 2 o'clock in the morning when they were getting out of bars. So I would open from like 9 a.m. till 3 in the morning. So it was a grind, but like I said, Sandy took care of that after 8 months, so I didn't have to worry about any of that. But yeah, I've met them a few times.
Well, I'll tell you, I certainly spread the word. I smoke every Sunday with a bunch of guys, correctional officers, cops, firemen. I smoke every Sunday with a group of guys. And we've been smoking outside at my office for the last 6 weeks. Two guys just opened up their smoking accommodations last week, so it's been good. But I'm always talking about your cigar.
Absolutely. So, Steve, do you find a lot of firefight, a lot of first responders smoke cigars? And I know the answer to that with the Podfather. Do you find, is that why? I mean, I know why you started it, but of course, if you make money, you're going to donate more money. So this is something.
Yes, quite a few first responders Yeah, quite a few first responders throughout the country smoke cigars. I also, to accelerate the fundraising, so we give $1 back to a nonprofit I started called Life of a Ride Time. And to accelerate the fundraising, we take charitable motorcycle rides. So you have the Red Knights, the Blue Knights, you have a lot of organizations. So I'm really in the first responder and Harley-Davidson communities.
Wow.
And in my dealings with them, I've noticed, and plus I was always getting solicited as a cigar shop owner for gift items to auction off at these events. Mm-hmm. So most of those solicitations came from fire departments and police departments saying, hey, we're having a golf outing for this cause. Can you donate a box? Can you do this? And then they'd invite me to do cigars out on the golf course. And when I showed up, it was like everybody, all 120 golfers, everybody at the dinner, everybody was lighting up cigars. And I said, holy cow, this is crazy. So that gave me the evidence and confidence to leave being a vice principal. That's when I said, you know what, given what the guys from Jersey Mike said, given what everybody's needs are and the families most importantly needing this financial support, I said, I think the evidence is there. I can do this and make this happen. So I went for it.
Nice. I was just going to say, an endeavor like that it's a big risk. It's good you have something to fall back on, but I can see why you're successful. This is great cigar.
Absolutely. So we're going to take a quick break here, Steve. And when we come back, I want to find out about the blend. What's the blend in the cigar? And is it, like you said, is it the same cigar as any other cigars on the horizon? Do you have any more cigars? So when we come back, we'll address all that. And Podfather, back to you in the studio.
Okay, answering the call, First Responders Podcast. We'll be right back.
Since 1992, Genesis House has been helping real people heal from addiction on their private recovery campus in beautiful Palm Beach County, Florida. Their family-owned program is accredited by the Joint Commission and offers detox and dual diagnosis treatment in a comfortable and confidential setting. At Genesis House, they focus on treating the underlying causes of addiction. Their comprehensive approach includes psychiatric care, individual and small group therapy, trauma healing techniques, and holistic care including yoga, massage, and animal-assisted therapy. After treatment, their clients enjoy the lifelong support of a nationwide network of Genesis House alumni. Call Genesis House today at 1-800-737-0933 to speak with someone who understands. Visit them on the web at www.genesishouse.net. It's time to start your journey to a long and successful recovery.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Answering the call, the First Responders Podcast. I am the Podfather, and I'm here with Jersey Ed, Sweets from Sweet Studio, and Steve Zengel. What is it?
You can do it. Los Caidos.
I speak Spanish,
Los
and I can't
Caidos.
say it. I don't know why. But I smoke Dos Hombres, too. That's the other thing. But, hey, Jersey Ed, you got a podcast pick of the week for us?
I do, Podfather. I do. Of Steve Zengel and Los Caidos Cigars. It has nothing to do with him, but it's a podcast of cigars. It's called Cigar Dungeon Podcast. Host Cigar Kevin. This is the Cigar Dungeon Podcast where the bullshit about cigars, booze, sex, MMA, wrestlers, comics, and movies, etc. This is the real cigar review by real cigar guys. You can find the Cigar Dungeon Podcast anywhere you get your podcasts from. And I'm listening to them. Have you ever heard of them?
I have not, but now that you led with that, I'm going to check it out.
Check it out, yeah.
I like the dungeon part. It kind of scares me, though, when I hear comics, cigars, and
sex.
Near a schoolyard.
Yeah. But before the break, Steve Zengel, we got him from Los Caidos Cigars. I mentioned something about the blends and how you decided. How does one pick a blend of cigars? I mean, I don't know if you hang around Cuba a lot or if you're down in Dominican a lot, or I don't know. I mean, how did you kind of give us the foresight on that?
Yeah, so I when I had my shop, I was smoking everything from Cas Fernandez, right? So right now they rebranded and they're now known as Aganorsa Leaf. But before they were well known, they were doing some great cigars, not only for themselves, which I loved, but they were doing Andre Farkas, Viaje, Illusione with Dion. They were selling a lot of their leaf to Drew Estate and other people in Nicaragua because Eduardo's the second largest, I think, farm owner in Nicaragua. So most people had the leaf without even knowing where it was sourced, right? So I was smoking the Cas Fernandez cigars, and I just liked them so much that I called Paul, and I said, Paul Palmer's the president. And, I was put in touch with him through their broker, Bob Morrison, up here in New Jersey. And I said, man, I love your cigars. I smoke them all the time. I carry them. Not a lot of people, I think, know about you, but I'm thinking about doing a cigar, and I would love to have you do the cigar for me. And he said no. Oh. And that was like January or February. So the first cigar I did before Los Caidos was called Perfection. It was a Connecticut mild cigar with Raleigh Massimino from Villanova University, and where I went to school. And he was a big cigar smoker, and we were trying to raise money for pediatric cancer. So he said no, and then I called him every month on the 15th of the month at 10 o'clock in the morning. And that went on for February, March, April, May. And around June, he said, this isn't going to stop, is it? And I said, no. And something you should know about me is that I'm 6'6" and 270 pounds from New Jersey. So I said, the next time you're going to say no to me is going to have to be face-to-face with me in Miami. And I'm laughing my ass off on the inside, like I'm crying, and because it's a phone call and he couldn't see me. So there was dead silence on the other line, and then all of a sudden I started joking. I'm like, Paul, I'm kidding. And he goes, ha, I knew you were. And I was like, you're so full of shit. You did not know I was joking. So then September, he came up with Eduardo's son, Max, who had just arrived to the company, and they surprised me. And I just shut the shop down, went to Starbucks, got coffee, went to the bakery, got some cupcakes and donuts and things like that. And I came back and he goes, I said, what do I have to do? He goes, man, you just did it. You're the crazy uncle at our Thanksgiving table. So I'll never forget that quote. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. So he then agreed to do Los Caidos. And when he agreed with the Raleigh Massimino cigar Perfection, how the blending happened is when you have a guy like Arsenio Ramos blending Fragonorsa leaf, it would take me a lifetime to get as good as he was, if I ever even could be as good as he is. It's like telling me to become Michael Jordan on a court. Like, all right, good luck, right? Yeah. So I just admitted my shortcomings, and I said, I'm going to absolutely have to rely on you. I just know what I want and what I like. So he said, okay, send me what you love of our stuff. We have to tweak it because it's very unethical to just take a cigar you love and put a new band around it. So we had to come up and alter the blend somehow. So I went to Miami because I was a vice principal. I didn't have the time to take a week or two to go to Nicaragua. I was a 12-month employee and only had 5 days off. So I had the leaf flown in from Nicaragua to their Miami office. I went down to Miami, and you kind of test everything in twos for verification. You smoke one. If you like it, you smoke the second, see if it still maintains the same flavor, taste, complexity, all that stuff. So I then went through, there were 44 cigars, 22 sets of 2 in front of me, and I smoked through about 11 sets over a 3-4 day period. And when I came to that one that I absolutely loved, I just said, that's it. So we took the same process with Perfection that we did with Los Caidos. So they blended it based according to my taste. And the reason Los Caidos was so difficult to blend is I knew that I had one cigar to try to appeal to a different bunch of groups, right? Yeah. So when we have a Los Caidos light up at a cigar shop, it's for anybody who had somebody they loved and lost, right? So my best friend, who I lost in 9/11, came to our return party at Club Macanudo in New York City. She never smoked a cigar a day in her life, right? And she still wanted to try one. So it had to be mild enough for someone like that who just wanted to partake in the ceremony of honoring a loved one who they lost and wanted to remember, but yet it had to be strong enough for the everyday cigar smoker. And when you're trying to bridge a mild blend with a full blend, it is gosh damn near impossible. And I felt that with the Los Caidos cigar that they blended, the one you're smoking now, I think they did a phenomenal job. So when I had that, I said, wow, I think this is strong enough. It could be a breakfast or lunch cigar for the full-on Maduro, like full-bodied smoker. And also it could just be maybe the evening cigar for an everyday cigar smoker, or I'm sorry, a mild cigar smoker just getting into it. So once we had that blend, I said, that's it. This is the way to go.
Well, I'm a really, I like Ligas. I like the Camacho Triple Maduros. Podfather is completely the opposite end of things. And when I seen that cigar box being smoked down, I'm like, I guess Podfather really liked them. And when I light these up, I'm like, yeah, this is definitely, I don't think it's a mild cigar. I personally don't. And I understand what you're saying, that it definitely can go both ways. I mean, I would smoke this in the morning, or I would smoke this, in the afternoon, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's definitely not a mild cigar. It's straight. It's right on the medium point. It's a straight medium bodied cigar.
Yeah. Los Caidos, it means fallen hero. Is that correct?
It means the fallen in Spanish. And to the Podfather, I'd say this. Even the guys at the factory in Nicaragua tell me I can't say the name of my own company correctly, so you don't worry about it.
How did you come up with that name? Why?
Yeah, a lot of people.
The first responders.
Yeah, a lot of people suggested that I use the name The Fallen. It's easy. You could look it up. It's better for Google search and all that other stuff. I felt that there needed to be some type of nod to the traditional Latino community that also worked so hard and sacrificed so much, leaving Cuba under the dictatorship, leaving their family, their belongings, everything behind, getting on a boat, coming over to one of the islands or Miami and trying to start a life over just cigars. So I thought that was incredible, and I said, what could we possibly do? So I just started Googling translations of things, and when I saw Los Caidos was for the fallen, I said, that's perfect. Now, a lot of people can't say it. They can't spell it. It's hard as hell to look up, but I didn't give a damn about any of that. I said, if they want it that badly, and if I do my job and make a great cigar, they'll find it.
Yeah.
So that's the path I went down.
Yeah.
Well, I like your style, Steve, definitely. I was in Mexico for a vacation, and I'm with my teenage daughter and her friends, my wife, but I was kind of bored. The second day there, I find a guy from Cuba. He's rolling cigars outside the hotel, and my best friend for the next 8 days. And I sat with him, every day, and he told me stories about the dictatorship under Castro and how he left, and it's just amazing. This guy was an amazing guy, and he was 83 years old. And he didn't look a day over 60, I swear. But I smoked 4 or 5 cigars with him every day, listened to all his stories. And, man, I'll tell you, what you just said is so true. We have no idea how a lot of those people that got here 2 generations ago when they first came, how they got here. They came on friggin' rubber tires, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Tire tubes.
Yeah, it's crazy. I like the correlation between both of them. They, the Spanish name for everybody who made the cigars and suffered and came into the country and made this wonderful cigar, and also the name, The Fallen. I mean, it's just amazing. We started this podcast a year ago, maybe a year ago now, and I've never heard of anything like this. And Mike and I Podfather and I are huge cigar smokers. And when Ed Sullivan brought this to us, we were like, yeah, Ed, come on. Let's talk about this. Because I know in the Podfather circle with his fellow officers, I know they smoke a lot of cigars. I know there's a lot of cops up in Two Guys when we're there. And this is just unbelievable. I'm also wearing your shirt that you gave us.
I like it. I see it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And you do a lot of fundraising. That's the other amazing part of it. Now, let me get this straight. You're giving $1 per box for donations, or $1 per cigar?
$1 per cigar, $11 a box.
Wow, that's incredible.
Wow,
I don't make a lot of money. I'm glad my wife works. I'll just say
that's what I was going to say. You're in this for your heart, not for your pocket. If you're giving $1 cigar away, because we know, we know David very well, and there's not a lot of money in the cigars. You have to sell a lot of cigars to make good money. So with taxes and everything, and it's just amazing that you would do this from your heart and honor the fallen. It's just simply amazing.
Yeah, thank you. And also, I want you guys to know this too, and anybody else who might be listening. I smoke a cigar. How this concept started is I lost my best friend on 9/11, and I sit in my yard every September 11th and have a smoke, and I talk to him. Like, people could think that's nuts, but I just miss him so much. Yeah. So what it starts as is you might remember that loved one you lost at the first light up, and maybe to the first third of the cigar. But then after that, you start thinking about your own life, right? You start thinking about, am I doing as much as I could be for others? Am I this type of person I want to be? Am I that? So what Los Caidos I'm finding through a lot of messages I get from people is it's becoming a very personal journey for others, right? So it starts in the remembering of a lost life, and then it also it's starting to cause other people to question their own, right? And like, you're a recovering addict, like, this is a good substitution for anything else you could be doing, and then maybe as you're smoking, you're midway through it, maybe you start contemplating some of that stuff. And you should really be proud of yourself of how far you've come. And I hope that maybe that's one of the thoughts you have as you're smoking a cigar. You should really be proud of yourself of how far you've come.
Well, this cigar, when I smoke it, excuse me, has a meaning behind it. No doubt about it. I think about all that. But yeah, you're right. I'm that type of cast. I'm like, is this over? I got to get out of here. Same thing with the Podfather. Like we can't sit down. But when the Podfather and I, when we met, he didn't want lunch. He didn't want a coffee. He wanted to go to the Two Guys because he was referring clients over me. He wanted to go to Two Guys and have a cigar. And him and I would sit there for 2 hours, like two guys who can't sit down for 3 minutes or sharing a cigar, sharing stories, sharing, over cigar, this podcast came upon, you know what I mean? And we definitely think of that. And when I don't smoke cigars normally by myself, I like to be around people, but when I do, there is a lot of thinking about it. And this cigar, there's a little bit more into it. I know that every cigar that I buy from you is going to go to a worthy cause. Number one, not all the taxes, not the government's going to make all the money off of it. Somebody's going to benefit through it. And it's wonderful. It's a wonderful idea.
Great concept.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Steve, the next time you're up at Two Guys, I hope you can find us. I want to buy you lunch right across the street at T-Bones, and we'll have a nice chat.
Absolutely.
I got some stuff I'm going to send you. You're 6'6", so I got some XX T-shirts.
Friends of Recovery T-shirts.
They're long as hell. They're going to fit you perfectly.
Hey,
nice.
Steve, real
Awesome.
quick before we wrap up here, we always, if somebody has a product or if somebody has a book or something, we always ask them a couple things: is how can we get a hold of them, and how do they buy the Los Caidos? Because I went to my cigar shop, they didn't have them. How can they get them if they don't have them?
Sure. So as David Garofalo is a huge proponent, I'll always try to support your local brick and mortar first. We're in about 128 shops throughout America. We are online. And interestingly enough, David Garofalo does a phenomenal job. Yeah. So if you Google Los Caidos Cigars, he comes up, I think, first now in a search engine, but we are carried by JR. We're considered a bestseller on JR. Wow. We are carried by Cigars International. We're out there, and you have great other brick and mortars like Scott Regina down at Emerson's, Lou's at Neptune Cigar, Club Humidor with Keith Rumbo and those guys. So anybody with a strong internet presence, you can get them and find them.
Okay, good.
Other than that, it's a good shot trying to find your local brick and mortar. But like I said, we're only in 120, so chances are if you go to your local brick and mortar, we're probably not there.
Yeah. And the second thing I always ask.
But you can ask them. Tell them you want them.
That's right.
Tell them you want them.
That's right. And the second thing I always ask, if you don't mind, if we can give a box away to a caller, if they would just call us at 617-379-1163, or somebody email us at help@friendsandrecoverypodcast.com, and we'll just pick somebody randomly, and I'll have you send them out a box if you're okay with that.
That'll be perfect.
Perfect. Good. If not, I'll pay for them, and we'll send them out anyway. So either way, somebody's getting a free box of cigars.
The FDA legally has stopped us from giving donations away. So if you can see me right now, you could buy a box from me, and I'll send it out. Okay.
All right. I'll buy the box from you. I swear.
Wink on that. Yeah. There you go. There you go. Perfect.
I know we know all that legal stuff through David Garofalo, and him always like pulling his hair out. So. But anyways, Steve Zengel from Los Caidos Cigars, The Fallen, wonderful cigar, Steve. Next time you are up in that area, please let us know. Let's get you on the show in the studio. We'll smoke one together. And your factory's not far, or your warehouse is not far from where I live. I'm only 15, 20 minutes away from you. My wife went down and picked up a box yesterday so I can smoke some on the show. And I got this wonderful shirt, and I got he gave me a nice FOP mug that I'm.
Hey, you got it. Good. I didn't know how to use the damn thing. I looked at Stacy. I said, Stacy, do you know what this is? She goes, yeah. I said, do you think Ed would like it? She goes, yeah. I said, here, give it to him, because I didn't even know how to open the damn thing. I was like, what the hell is this?
Now he wants
I thought it was an ashtray. And the guys are like, that's not an ashtray, you idiot. It's a coffee mug. And I'm trying to open it. I couldn't open it. I was like, I'm just giving this away. So that's compliment. That's compliments of the Newark, New Jersey FOP.
Nice. Thank you, Newark, New Jersey FOP. So Steve Zengel from Los Caidos Cigars. Thank you very much, Steve. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Podfather, back.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. Podfather, thank you, Ed. Thank you, Sweets. Thank you so much on the back work. I really appreciate everything, everybody. Thank you so much, and enjoy the cigars if you have them.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Hey, again, I got to say it. You've done it again. You picked the best guest. This guy is. I love this guy. This guy's like benevolent. He's just a kind soul.
He's a fucking Jersey guy, dude.
Yeah, he's probably. Is he? It's hard to believe, Well, then again, Springsteen's a Jersey guy too, so I guess I can see it,
Well, Podfather, this was a great show.
Yeah, really good show, Eddie.
Yeah, smoking a good cigar together.
I'm going to be pushing these as much as I can, but I am going to send some stuff out to Steve. So if you get a chance, just send me his address, and I want to send him a letter, and maybe a donation for everything this guy does. I mean,
it's unbelievable.
He said one of his best friend died in 9/11, and I can only imagine how many people in that area lost friends to 9/11. Over 3,000.
Oh, yeah.
I know I lost some friends. Two people I knew very well. One was a pilot. His name was Oganowski, and he was from Dracut, where I live, my hometown. He's a half mile from my house. Talk about a benevolent man. The farm he owns and his wife runs now, but they actually took a piece of the building and they built a new fire station right across from his farm, and they have a piece of mangled girder that's displayed there that came right from Ground Zero, and that wasn't that long ago. It seems like it was millions of years ago, but it wasn't, and we all lost somebody. And when I was listening to Steve talk, I was thinking about the gentleman that has this organization that builds houses for wounded warriors and for police and fire. It's just amazing, and his name's slipping my mind right now. But
I'd like to see what his next venture is. If he put this together, I wonder if he's going to do something for along those lines, veterans or something. It's amazing that you get something good and you run with it, and you help people, and hopefully he'll make a little money. I don't think he's in it for the money. I think he's more in it for helping people out. And that's what this show's about. So
these are great cigars, and you know what? They come in just the way they come. It's perfect. And I will be buying a box of these a month for sure, because me, I smoke 3 or 4 cigars a day.
Absolutely.
Life's short. Have fun,
That's right. That's right, Podfather. So,
great
Podfather,
show.
Great show. Thank you very much, Sweets. We know you're back there somewhere smoking cigars too.
He's lurking and working back there.
He's lurking and working, Sweets. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Just lurking and working.
Do you have your Los Caidos cigar fired up?
I do.
He does. We all do.
Good.
Listen, you enjoy the rest of your week, and stay safe out there and in your garage, and
I will.
Be careful. Don't hurt yourself.
I won't.
Answering the Call, the First Responders Podcast.
Stay safe, everybody.
That concludes this episode of Answering the Call, the First Responder Podcast. Thanks to Genesis House for sponsoring the show and supporting first responders who are struggling with addiction and mental health. Follow us on Facebook for past shows and updates. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, email us at help@friendsandrecoverypodcast.com.